all to the VSS Hour, the truncated version. So we're going to start with, and I think you're going to lead me right into the discussion we're going to have after Nous Fonseca.
And they are here today. We are not paying y'all to be here. This means y'all are committed to our community, and we see that. And this is what it takes. So Haitian Excellence, y'all, and I'll pause because Genzin.
So I also want to add a Haitian Excellence.
Sure.
Give Miami-Dade.
Oh, yeah.
So one of the things that we saw happen collectively in Miami-Dade was how Haitians showed up for Haitians. Whatever title you want to give it, but the fact that you were able to go on Hannah, you were able to go to IT Community Trust. You were able to go to FUM, Gang Alternative, Prosperity, and literally see the names of other Haitians. We didn't let other people donate to our organizations.
That's right.
We donated to our organizations. And to look at the amount of money that our organizations were able to raise for us, by us, makes the community definitely, Haitian excellence.
That's right. And get probably.
Get crop, honey.
Right.
Get crop na communauté.
Yeah.
The problem is, are we actually supporting the people doing the work?
One, and two, the problem is, do we want to think about a collective or do we want to think about individually?
See, on commence.
En tout cas.
On commence. So,
I'm going to introduce you because Shirley does Dr. Shirley, excuse me. Dr. Shirley. Dr. Shirley is so many things, but she's the chief consultant of U-Turn Youth Consultants. They actually just had an amazing conference about yes they did, preventing the youth to prison, the student to prison pipeline. And so y'all know a lot of our folks are experiencing the criminal justice system. A lot of our parents don't understand how to navigate the criminal justice system. So Shirley is all things preventing our youth from being in the system. And so that is Shirley, but Shirley leads us in our current events because we gotta catch up.
Yeah, current event, because there's a lot happening. So we're gonna start, like I always tell you and Vanessa, we're gonna start with your president.
Okay.
Because your president could say whatever he wants, stuff that we can't say, because we go to jail. But they put a gag on him. They took the gag off. The former president. They put a gag on him. They took the gag off, and then he came back and attacked the staff of the.
Yeah. Anybody watching that in the audience? What's happening with the trials or the cases with the former president?
I think people done lost track. How many people paying attention to that?
En tout cas, just let you know que si c'est moi. T'as en bas prison longtemps. Right.
But you're not point que Centre toujours aimé faire, and I think it's very telling when we just asked you all combien moun kap suivre ça kap fait là, and people are like, I'm tired, I'm over it. I want y'all to understand we can't be tired. We can't be over it because elections have consequences, right? And we're in election year, but I'm gonna let that's gonna be part of our discussion in a minute. And then we gotta talk about DeSantis. Because I done heard this on see, I done heard everything already. I heard your governor has decided that he's going to call a special election parce qu'on connaît nous les special elections Jean nous voulons parce que moun que nous élus c'est pour lui au travail pas pour nous. And we want to pick fights with Disney. We want to ban books. So Pink is coming into town. And Pink said for every place that she goes to perform that they have banned books, she's giving 2 of those banned books out.
That's right.
Talk to me about that, because I know that's all in your vein.
I think that Shirley is talking about banned books and education. If you have children, if you don't have children yet, if you plan to have children, if you have nieces and nephews, if you just know you love kids, we should be concerned.
Facts.
Right? Because when we think about what books are, when we think about public education, when we even think about, for people who are like charters, who might often may not necessarily have the same standards, right? We're talking about the ability of our children to know their history, but also to be able to compete with other children from across the world. And I got news for us. Y'all gotta ask, what's the news?
What's the news?
Honey, we are not competitive with other people.
Not.
They can run circles around us. And I'll give an example. I teach a course at Lynn University, and majority of my students are international students from China, from Africa, from South Africa, from Nigeria. I have one from India. They teaching me. I actually come to class for them. That's how bright they are. They all are social entrepreneurs. Our folks, our education system, you don't see that. You don't see often people on that track record. And I tell folks, Florida in particular in the nation, our education system in Florida is not ranked high at all. We're bottom of the barrel.
So I want to tie that a little bit to some of the conversation when we're talking about the former president saying that if he gets back in, he's going to do mass camps and mass deportations.
Oh yeah.
For people who didn't realize that, like his plan is to do mass deportation.
Day one.
From day one. He wants to build camps for mass deportation.
That's right.
So if we do, as Dr. Gerda has always taught us as a mentor, you got to be able to make those intersectional ties. So that means, tout Biden New York,
gone.
That means they go bye-bye. Si moun New York ki vini si pa parle anglais poko comprendre, that don't have the full access to books, I want y'all to remember the countries where we dictated what they read. I'm going to leave it right there and y'all tell me how that ended up.
Right.
Okay? So, m'vle pou nou comprendre, there is real work that is being done intentionally and deliberately about our people. And the reality is we're silent. C'est parce que nous n'avons conditionné. Nous confortables. But anyway.
And we can't be comfortable.
No.
I tell folks like Shirley and I don't know how many hours we put in a week. It's not because we just like working.
No.
Because we fundamentally believe that if we don't have an opposition to what people are giving us, then this will be status quo, right? If there's not a response to what we see, if a president can lie on his finances, then why do I gotta tell the truth on my finances?
Ooh.
Right? I want to not pay taxes.
No, you have to.
I want to not pay taxes. Have people experienced how much their insurance have gone up this year?
The taxes.
I just asked my one of our board members who does real estate. I'm like, well, how does your taxes on your house go up every year? Is it like, do I just need to prepare every year for it to go up?
Every year.
Right? And so all of these things are happening, but what Florida is focused on is banning books.
Banning books.
Instead of, are we ready for climate? We just had a hurricane out of nowhere.
A hurricane with no name. Every year we have one.
Right? Flooded. People lights off. We have no infrastructure that can support it. Every year FPL is working on it. Every year the power lines go down. Right?
And I think before I close the current event and then we start with the interview, which is going to be short, I really want us to be mindful of considering what election 2024 is going to look like. Because going that's just concerned with the presidential election. We got local elections.
En tout cas. Let me tell y'all something. Shirley know how to get me started. Just since we're amongst family, just 2 weeks ago, there's a building in Little Haiti with Haitian elders. None of them are under 50. All of them are 50-year-olds and up. Fixed income. Have been paying for the last 15, 20 years between $650 to $850 a month. And that alone on a fixed income is a stretch. People are not honest about the majority of people who work in Miami.
Right.
Who work hospitality jobs, tourism jobs. Those are our big industries, right? Healthcare, entry-level healthcare folks. Those are the industries we have here. Some of us are privileged where we don't work those, but a majority of the people, those are the stuff. Landlord woke up one day, he don't want them there no more.
Where they going?
Mais Centra, ça n'a pas le fait. That's what they're saying to us. And I don't have the courage to say that we can do something when I know there's nothing to be done. Right? It brings water to my eyes because you can see that these are your grandparents who've lived in Florida who can't afford it. And no one gives a damn about them.
Oh, well, that's where you at? Because we also need to talk about, and I think I was talking with Lovey. Where's Lovey? We were just talking, Basila. We were just talking about with the increase of immigrants that we have, right? and we're looking at the new wave of problems that we're about to face. Because what I'm seeing now with our young people is the fact that they speak Spanish. Many of them speak Spanish. Yo pa wek tet yo kom Haitien. So the Hispanics don't want them, and they don't want to be Haitian, thereby creating the new Zopound, because you tend to click up with those who have shared lived experience. Right? And then we realize that because you're living in Florida, to Baz's point, where they gonna go? They can't afford it. And then to Dr. Gerda's point, when we did the event in February, we already know that more than half of the people in DJJ, more than half of the kids in DJJ are of Haitian descent. So then the question becomes,
what's DJJ?
DJJ is the Department of Juvenile Justice.
That mean in the what?
Ça veut dire que ces petits moun yo arrêté déjà. So majorité nan ti moun, nan jeune qui chita,
Qui noir? C'est haïtien, oui.
c'est ti haïtien que yo yé.
And arrêtez là. Because the 85-year-olds that we just talked about, people who are not 85, born in 85, honey, they couldn't even call home for us. Teachers didn't call home for Haitian kids.
No.
Mm-mm.
Well, now.
We called our parents fast and like the teacher's gonna be calling mommy.
Mommy, pas de faire, pas de
c'est ça qui t'est arrivé. Right? Because we knew we couldn't get in trouble. And people would say it about Haitian kids. And so now we see a whole new generation, and that is not generalized. Grown so our community, right? And you know I got the answer. Ask me what's the answer.
What's the answer, friend?
Y'a géré l'argent, y'a bâti caille, y'a fait caille la Haïti, y'a fait overtime on overtime on overtime.
Yo do non di oui.
No, but that's the thing. Because at the end of the day, we're asking, and don't get me wrong, I understand that there are significant economic issues, but we also have to think about who's raising these kids, what are their values, are they clear on their values? I'll be honest, leve l'église.
Facts.
And honey, there's a way that it grounds you, and it gives you some principe.
Come on, Santra.
And there's a new generation.
Come on, Santra.
And I'm not saying even about whatever you believe, there's a principe that we used to have as a community.
But going back to that, à part de principe là, gon respect. Gen respect. Gon sey de ba ou pat di, gon sey de rad ou pat mette, gon façon que nous pat pote tête nous parce que nous haïtiens. Que nous réaliser. And I know some people gonna think, oh, you know, they being old school. But the reality is, I can tell you, working for the county, my other hat, those principes that the Hispanics have, a lot of that is maintained. Nana, abuelita, and abuelo, and everybody, they're the ones raising. They're making sure they speak the Spanish. They're making sure that they eat.
I'm leaving line. Not only could I not get in trouble, I knew that everybody was watching us.
That part. And
this is not Haiti, y'all.
This is here.
Broward County. Broward County, where I went to a school where a lot of my friends who went to church with me also went to that school. And so whoever was picking up, if my mom picked us up, she picked up everybody. Everybody who went to the church. Small car, we were all there. Right? All eyes were on us. People, we knew that
but Santra,
they're watching.
But Santra, it comes from the conversation that we often have on the show. We have moved away from that village mentality, right? So, that we're losing our kids. We need to understand, there wasn't a mom now qui a ramassé 4-5 petits moun qui étaient l'école ensemble, qui l'église ensemble, because I just need to pick mine up and go home. D'ailleurs, ou t'as perdu 4 baptistes pour t'arrêter leurs parents pour dire parents mais ça petit tout on t'a fait. Because right now they would give you the business. So how can I look out for you as a collective? How can we solve problems as a collective if we have become very individualistic?
I think the biggest point that we're bringing home, if not other, is like these principles, these values, they don't happen accidentally. That you actually have to be intentional about what values we want our kids to have, what values we have, what principles. There are a lot of Haitian principles that I'm in full agreement with. There are some that I'm like, I don't know. But the ones that are good that we respect one another, right? That we have pride, and sometimes pride goes too far, but pride keeps you
In check.
in line. You're not getting back there, right?
Qui m'en parle mieux.
Exactly. I'm descend quartier, I want
Yeah.
that from you want.
Right.
And so there are things that you won't do. And I'll just pause and say this because we got to move on. I'm fascinated with Haiti, and this is, again, why Avanse Ansanm started. I remember I visited my parents, where my mom is from, in Port-au-Prince, as an adult. And, you know, again, they're going to always ask you what's your last name, who you're related to. And even those things tell us about our culture. That people can know each other. We don't even know our neighbors now. We don't know who they are, we don't know their kids, but we come from a community, a culture, a country where the whole community will know each other, right? And so just because we're here doesn't mean that we have to let those things go, right? We should still try to preserve those things because it's important, right? You know, and we should think about how we have a responsibility to pull those things into ourselves, into our culture, even though we're not over there. Absolutely, these kids are my kids. I don't have kids yet. But Shirley's son is a kid to me. He's my child, and I got my eyes on him, and he matters to me, right? These kids are our kids, and so when we see them, right, then we gotta feel like that, right? When they're coming by themselves, when they're in the foster care. Listen, Haitian kids are in foster care. Right? By the droves, abandoned. Their parents sent them here to be with aunties, and their aunties put them out. And so for us, what does our community have to say about our kids?
I can tell you, because the kids will tell you, and that's how you're going to run right into Avanse Ansanm so we can wrap up. We can wrap up.
Listen, it's me and Shirley. Give it up for Shirley.
Listen, so one of the things that we often hear many of our young people say, nous lever sous trois bagailles. L'école, l'église, la caille. What it is? L'école, l'église, la caille. Those were the those were the principes, right, that we were talking about, right? You went and got the education, you gonna go to church to pray, and the house is the only friend mouth. In fact, your mama told you what? That falls on me.
Listen, my little sister is here. She's gonna be embarrassed. I have 3 sisters. My mom was clear. Tell your friends don't call my house because you have friends. They're your sisters. They can't call here.
Right.
So much so that my mom only allowed friends from the church.
That part.
If you was a school friend, you could never come over. You could not be my friend.
All my friends are still church friends.
She don't know your family. She don't know who raised you. Will
That's that principle.
Because.
So.
Why, Shirley? Hold on. Why?
Why, Sandra? Why?
Because your parents and how they're raising you will have an impact on me.
That's right.
Right? And even now, the ones that my mom was like, attention outside. I'm like, oh, that's what she meant.
That's what she meant. So, let's take the narrative of the l'école, l'église, et la caille, the idea of principe, respect, et culture, all of that. Because those are the things that harnessed your love and your passion to create Avanse Ansanm.
Absolutely.
So now, tell me briefly, why? What's your why? What are we doing? We talked about election. How does election matter? The civic engagement piece, the understanding wealth. We talked about that. And last year we talked about the grandparents and the role of the younger generation to now take care of the people who took care of us. Tell me about your why and what's your objective that you're trying to accomplish, not with this moment, but with this movement.
Yeah. In my hearts of hearts, I truly believe that in our generation, we can see a different country. I tell people that on met where Haiti tête en bas, Haiti pas pays.
Facts.
Right, and it's you got to be disciplined about hope. Right, and I think that for me, not only am I a child of Haitians, I'm also a Black woman. Right, and so I think that Avanse Ansanm is like, it's about creating, cultivating the space to bring forth a people who want to get into action. And so it is not enough for us, and I think Haitian community, people can say what they want to. We've only been in Miami 50 years. Mais amis, we got elected officials, we got business folks. I'm talking about South Florida, right?
Yep.
We have done well.
Yep.
However, when you think about the next iteration, what's the next 50 years? What should it look like for us? We're talking about collective power, collective wealth. What does it mean for us to be able to contribute to Haitian businesses, for our dollars to start Haitian businesses, right? What does it mean? Because that's what other communities are doing. I was talking to my nail tech, you know, who, what are they again? They're, the people. The people are, they're Asian, but they're Vietnamese. Thank you, Uncle Jeff. Vietnamese. You know how they start their shops? They work and they pull their money together and they start another. And they pull their money together and they start another. But nous console, nous qu'on fait. L'île pour nous faire. That we can contribute, because if we're not careful, people will make us hate each other.
Yes.
And they be like, Haitian pa ka Avanse Ansanm. I don't believe it. Because I see Haitians working together all the time. Right? And so, like, what does it mean for us to pull our funds together and truly believe and trust each other? Yes. Right? And number two, for me, is around power. Right? Power not for me, pas pour s'entreparler, but power for the collective. What does it mean for us to have elected officials who truly reflect and work for the collective?
That part.
What does it mean for us to have executive directors of leaders or of businesses, or CEOs of businesses who truly believe in corporate social responsibility, who's gonna put it out, who's gonna, you know what they say, pay it forward, right? This stuff doesn't happen by accident. This conference costs money, right? But we believe that this is worth it, that building a community that has shared values, that is thinking about collective power, collective wealth, that matters. And we shouldn't, other people shouldn't invest in it. We should invest in it because it's important, right? And so I think that's what we're talking about.
So I'm going to do something. I'm going to ask a question, and it's not to divide, but I want to make a point. How many people in here have any type of degree? It could be a certificate. It could be any degree that you have. Raise your hands. Raise them high. Don't be ashamed.
Oh, you voit l'école petit.
So I want you to see the collective power of the l'école l'église la caille, right? You can put your hands down. But I also, one of the things that when Sandra called me and said she wanted to do this, one of the things that we're realizing is once we get the degree, we don't owe the community nothing else. Deuces. I got the degree. It's about myself. My vocal, doctor, nurse. What else we got? Engineers, professeur, business owner. Pas doué communauté encore, because there's this mentality que m'te fait pour compte moi. I want to be one of the very first people to tell you, you ain't do it by yourself. There was a collective community that came before you, that sacrificed, that created paths, that made ways. But now we have to ask, now that we got these beautiful degrees, and many of us are making nice salaries, then what? Do we stop there, or do we harness that collective, you know, that collective economic and political power? Because it's not enough for us to just get the elected officials in. Are they working for us? Don't get me started, but Sandra, go ahead, because we're going to wrap up.
This is the last point, at least I hope.
It is, it is.
We got to go. I think the first thing, absolutely, is representation. You want to see somebody who looks like you, who speaks your language. But if you're talking about the next 50 years, it's not enough. I'm clear. It is not enough for you to be black. It's not enough for you to be Haitian. Yep. Are you working for us? And the question that I ask is, what do we have to show for your leadership?
Ooh, do we legislate?
When we look at the community, what do we have to show? What is the evidence? What is the fruits of our leadership? Right? And that's what we have to, if we have Haitian majorities, we should see it. We should see the fruits. We should be proud. We should be able to lift it high. And we are in some ways. I'm never going to say, but we always think about there's work to do, right? Right. And finally, I'll say that I think it's important for us to know, and this is what grounds me, time is short. I go to a church where, we've had 4 young people under 40 die this year. And like this latest one, I'm actually going to be attending his funeral next week. 25-year-old playing basketball, just had a child, got married last year. 25 now, playing basketball, dropped dead, collapsed. Time is short, and the impact that we want to have has to be now.
Now.
And so I tell people I live with it is clear to me in my lived experience that time is short. And if time is short and I want to see a different world in my generation, we have work to do. Shirley, let's not lie. The last 4 weeks, I may have slept maybe 3-4 hours a day. I'm an adjunct professor, I run an organization, and we've been planning this conference. We don't do this for fun. Because you know why? I tell folks, it is easy to not be engaged. I could be on the beach, living my best life.
That's life.
Having fun. Nut club, don't say on it. Right? That, for folks, it's easy to disconnect. It's actually harder
To do the work.
to be intentional about the work that you want to do, and that's the invitation. I'm not saying 24/7. I'm just saying, ask yourself when you leave here, what have you done for community? Not for you. What have you done for the community? And you haven't done anything yet, we invite you to think about Avanse Ansanm, to be a part of our team, to be thinking creatively about how we better engage our community, the next generation. But finally, what will be our mark? What will people say about us, this generation? What will we have left for the next generation? And so that's what I'm often thinking about. And time might be up for me, and I will be proud because I've doubled down with the time that I've done. I hope that we can say that for everyone's here, and feel good about it. Not individually, because that individual stuff, guess what? Boom, right? So good today, the market is good. Tomorrow, you can lose it all. We know that. But your impact that you have with people, you'll never lose that.
And I think part of what I want to close with, and those words are powerful, Sandra, is that a lot of times we feel, I don't have the time. I can't do what Sandra's doing. Sandra, she just told you everything she does. So
I don't have the time either.
I train law enforcement. I have a full-time county job. I run U-Turn, just did our conference. And
3 jobs.
3 jobs. And part of what my team and I have committed to doing after our conference is we close every year by being in appreciation and in partnership with our partners. The problem is it's so easy for us to say, "M'pa gen tan. M'gen travail, m'gen maman, m'gen petit, m'gen manger pour m'faire, m'gen." I challenge you, find the time, make the time, because if not your time, your talent, your treasure, call Sandra.
But we gotta go, but I'll just say this, especially for the folks who have degrees. I would actually wanna do the things that only I can do. And so some of us, we're actually different from our parents' generation, because I'm gonna have a cleaner come and clean the house. Because I got things to do. There are things that only I can do, right? And so guess what? I need them to come in, clean the house, and do the laundry for me. Because I gotta be about my community, right? And so if you got a spare, get some help so that you can be about your community too. And I'm not talking about folks who are working class who may not have it, but honey, listen, I never feel as good as I do when they come clean the house. My God.
But as we close, it's not enough to just be a part of the community. Stand in allyship, be a partner, and sometimes it's your dollars, sometimes it's your talent, sometimes it's your treasure, sometimes it's doing just what you're doing right now. Just being present, because if only you know how much it infuses and allows us to do what we do. So thank you for another VSS hour. No pam Shirley Plantain.
No pam se
And you guys have a great Saturday. Y'all have a good one. So I switch hats as not the interviewee, but now I'm back to being the host. We're going to give everybody a 5